Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Culture Shock podcast. This is episode 5. Today we're going to talk conspiracy theories with our friend Mike. I'm Rob.
My name is Boss.
And before we start, I have a little bit of an update on the iTunes situation. So as you can clearly see, we're not on iTunes yet. We're working on it. Probably going to take a couple of weeks, maybe a month. Until then, you can find our audio podcast on AnchorFM. Okay, let's start. Mike's going to lead the way because he knows more about conspiracy theories than we do.
Yeah, so basically the guys have wanted me on the show because probably you've heard me talking probably about a few of these topics just, here and there. And we thought it'd be interesting to probably have a discussion on conspiracy theories, some ridiculous, some which have been proven, and some which are probably in the realm of, believability, and some we just don't really know what the situation is. So I think it'd be good to start with some ridiculous ones. First of all,
Let's go.
probably the first one I should say probably should be flat Earth.
That's not real.
Flat Earth isn't really one I'm very familiar with. In fact, it's actually quite a recent one. I was kind of researching into a lot of conspiracy theories and whatnot, kind of a few odd years ago, and this one really wasn't one on the radar back then. And for those of you that don't know, essentially there's a conspiracy theory that the Earth is flat, and that pictures of the globe from NASA and other space agencies are photoshopped. GPS devices are rigged.
This is all what I know to be true, yes.
Airplane pilots think they're flying in a straight line around a sphere when they're actually flying around circles in a disc.
Okay,
and
cool.
Yeah, and the motive for the world's governments concealing that the true shape of the Earth has not been ascertained, but flat earthers believe it's probably financial. Just to
what's financially to gain from that?
I'm really not too sure. It's those fucking globe makers, man.
Yeah, people who make globes making a lot of money since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Making money with lies, wow.
Well, it also could be this guy come up to you like, "Hey, I'm selling secrets. Guess what? The Earth's flat."
I mean,
that'll be $1,000.
It could also be that the further away we travel, in a straight line from the flat Earth, maybe there's all the gold and other really awesome resources, or maybe there's something which they're hiding.
They're trying to keep us here.
What happens with
pretty much?
What happens with the water though?
Well,
it just falls
off.
Well,
how does it regenerate?
You're arguing with.
You ever see
you're
Minecraft?
Debating with people.
Hang on, have you ever played Minecraft?
Yeah.
You can four things, unlimited water, right?
That's true. That's how the world works.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I mean, you're kind of debating then with people who are already kind of ignoring a lot of physics
Lies.
and generally regarded facts in science.
I like the
asking them what happens with water and other physics related things. Probably not. Probably not a good person to ask.
This is so smart though.
No offense if you're a flat earther, but you're an idiot.
I don't know.
No offense, but you're an idiot.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a fairly benign conspiracy theory.
It's one that doesn't
nobody's
harm
really
anybody.
kind of getting hurt too much with this one.
No,
The
it
people
doesn't.
who believe it believe too much. They're just stop, man.
I don't know. I think it's a fairly funny one.
I almost think this could be the least harmful one on.
Yeah,
on
probably.
the list.
Probably. I mean, there's other ones which are more concerning if they were true or otherwise. But
The world being flat wouldn't affect anybody's life. If it did turn out to be true, it's just so if it did turn out to be true, that's just a fact of what it was anyway, and the world goes on as if it was normal. It's just people's belief changes.
I think it's more incredible just the theory that something like this has been kept secret for so long.
Yeah.
Something of this magnitude, which is so easily provable wrong. People from ancient Egypt were able to work out that the Earth has a curve because the
Sunset,
I can't remember the name of the monument, but it's
The
essentially
obelisk.
Obelisk. Yeah, when they're going straight up, the sun when it's directly above it, there's hardly any shadow, and when they calculated that at the same time of day, obelisks in the two points of Egypt, one had a different shadow to the other, and they were able to kind of calculate the curvature of the Earth based upon that. And we're here in 2018. We have the internet at our disposal. We have things going around the globe in terms of
like satellites,
space stations and satellites, and people still
No, man, come on.
Still to this day,
But
Did you
just
see,
believe
in
honestly.
Egypt, they didn't have Photoshop yet, so we couldn't Photoshop it.
Did you see that SpaceX launched a satellite the size of a coach, like a bus,
Yeah.
into space yesterday?
Oh, I did see
Yesterday?
that yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't see
Yeah.
it.
But I am aware of if you check on Elon Musk's Instagram and whatnot, there's when he got the Tesla into space, there's people who are just like, bro, why have you got to Photoshop? Like why you got to Photoshop curves on the Earth like that, man? Like I know what you're doing. It's like really you're
That's like
gonna message Elon Musk?
That's like such a feat of science, engineering, and like physics. And people are like, yeah, but why you got Photoshop? Like,
I know, yeah.
then he could be like, you can believe that he put a car into space, but you can't believe that the Earth is round.
Oh,
It doesn't make
amazing.
sense, man.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much longer you want to dwell on this
so
one because we've got.
I think we should do like at the end of all of them if we think it's true or not.
Yeah, sure.
No, this is true.
Sure.
Yeah. I don't think. Well,
Buzz is number one.
This is true.
if you
Flat Earth.
if you ask me ever again, I'll say it's true, but I'm saying it's not real.
This is a meme,
But-
man. Come on.
That's off the record. Just
No,
between
no,
me and-
no. I don't believe this one. No one bit. No one bit. It's just too illogical in my mind. That there's too much science to support. It's just you have to suspend your disbelief in order to believe this one
Yeah.
because it's so far out of the realm of believability and laws of physics, essentially. So that's my take on it.
Cool, though.
It's not like it's ever something that could ever happen. Like it's some
It's
things, some conspiracy theories may not have happened, but they could happen.
it could happen. I mean, maybe in the
So you...
maybe in a different dimension where the
But not-
interdimensional
in a different
dimension.
shape-shifting
In different
aliens are from.
Okay.
Could be
Oh,
possible.
is that a nice?
Maybe that's who
Is that a
started
nice
the rumor.
segue? Is that a nice?
But we're getting a bit too far ahead of us. So
Okay, what's your next one?
yeah, I mean, talking about interdimensional shape-shifting aliens, that's probably
Oh.
a good one to lead on to next. So
Segue.
yeah, I'll just give you a brief rundown of what I know of this topic when I was kind of looking into this, and so.
Yesterday morning.
The theory goes that the members of the world elite, like very powerful, prominent figures, kind of in the realms of Illuminati-esque
Oh, yeah.
things like this. The conspiracy is that they're not normal human beings, and
Okay.
that they are interdimensional, shape-shifting aliens, essentially lizard people, basically,
Okay.
and that somehow they are able to shapeshift and change their appearance on the fly.
All right.
And I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos, YouTube documentaries about
From
this.
some reputable.
Oh, yeah,
directors,
very
I'm guessing,
reputable, documentary, factual
Filmmakers,
evidence.
yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And most of the proof that these videos showcase are like just visual glitches, which kind of appear on, like for instance, you'd have like a video of Obama or Hillary Clinton talking, and then kind of they'd turn around and there'd just be like a bit of a visual glitch which happens in the video, like on a part of their face, and they'd be
Yeah.
like, that is it. There
Alien.
you go. Like
Alien.
they can't keep it
Confirmed.
100% all the
Yeah,
time.
it's
is
so
what
much
they say.
concentration to keep it like
Yeah,
that,
like basically like, there's like minor fragments, which is what makes me laugh is that people can believe that the globe is photoshopped to perfection.
Yeah.
Yet when there's a little visual glitch on someone's face, it's like no, this is proof,
Well, we've had years.
undeniable.
We've had years. We've had what, like 20 years of Photoshop now? Come on.
Yeah, come on.
Somebody just wasn't able to kind of like edit that out.
No.
Make that perfect.
One
And
of
this
like,
was in the realm of like kind of like when 720p HD was kind of just rearing its head around
Yeah.
as well. So like it's very common to see visual glitches and,
And
things
on
like that.
1080p HD, 720, whatever you're talking about.
Yeah.
If you want to watch
Yeah.
us on video in stunning 1080p, go to YouTube.
If you don't want to watch us on the video, go to SoundCloud.
No.
Or maybe on
No,
iTunes.
no. I literally just said no at the start of the podcast. AnchorFM.
AnchorFM. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's it.
you messed that up a little bit there.
Yeah.
What are, you,
Well done.
what are you talking about, man? Maybe,
Okay, carry on.
well,
So
maybe
it
you're
was-
watching this a year later. Maybe on SoundCloud.
You're
then, or on
plugging
iTunes,
your
what are you
own
talking
show
about?
within the
What are you
show
talking
here.
Yeah.
What are you
Wow.
talking- Yeah, of course.
This is meta plug.
Leave
right
a
here.
like.
But anyway, yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought a little bit there.
So you're saying it's just like visual glitches and people believe
yeah,
that.
and most of like the glitches which kind of happen. I mean, but by all means, go onto YouTube and type in a video of proof of shape-shifting reptiles, and you'll kind of see what we're talking about here. And it just strikes me as quite funny because in that era of YouTube and whatnot, video compression on when you upload a video to YouTube is a real thing, and I feel like a lot of that happens pretty much based upon that.
Yeah.
That's not the only one I've heard about interdimensional shape-shifting aliens. In fact, there was a website which I went on like ages ago, which like a woman was basically kind of saying that if you just take a recording of just ambient noise and you play it backwards,
Yeah.
it was like she was trying to find hidden messages, like deciphering of like picking up like the odd message or two from aliens within that frequency. Like there was like a process which she was kind of doing,
Okay.
but like the audio that was being heard, she was like, oh yeah, they were saying this, and like the audio that was being played, it's like that's a real big stretch.
in like lizard language or in
Yeah,
English.
well, like apparently the alien lizard people all talk English in
really?
in these.
So it's the top 1%, but only in the West.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
It's international, but English.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how they went with the interdimensional vibe
Yeah.
with this and not intergalactic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's an interesting take.
Well, I mean, we've all seen Rick and Morty.
Yeah,
That's pretty compelling evidence that
yeah, I suppose so.
And you need 200 IQ to understand some Rick and
I
Morty.
don't understand it at all.
No, same.
No. Do you understand Rick and Morty?
You seem like a smart guy.
Not really, not to the full degree.
No.
Not like Rick does.
No.
So-
I'm more on the Morty side of things.
I'm more on like
understanding.
the summer, or the what's
Jerry,
it?
man.
Jerry.
Oh, right.
I'm more than Jerry type. Yeah.
I'm the homeless guy that has a theme park in him.
All right. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure how much I can really talk about this. It's quite
It's
quite
pretty
far
far-fetched,
fetched.
yeah.
We're starting off with ones which are quite far fetched. So, do you believe it?
No.
Although I think Trump is probably subhuman. But
I
did. the hair.
I did at one point.
That's one too.
No,
really?
It's the hair,
Maybe.
Trump.
maybe a
Hang
little
on, he's
bit.
starting to believe it.
Yeah.
He's
I
starting to
start
believe it.
Actually, whoa. All the.
You believe Trump is a shape-shifting alien?
Yeah.
You see, I don't, because I believe if there really was an interdimensional shape-shifting alien, he'd be able to shape-shift hair, which would actually not, come on. If you can shape-shift yourself as a human being,
Yeah.
shape-shift better
Yeah,
hair.
This is the smartest.
Just
thing
make
ever.
yourself like.
This is what I thought.
If you're gonna shape,
We're not gonna shapeshift someone who's perfect.
No, I don't
Make
think
a
so.
weird. Guy.
Okay, if you're gonna shapeshift yourself, make yourself like Channing Tatum or something like that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
David
maybe
Beckham.
that's why maybe that's why they don't do
Yeah.
it.
Do you think that's why his wife is like way younger than him? Because he showed her all like the lizard money.
No, you can show
Maybe-
someone normal money, and then
Yeah, but he's like, look, let's go to a shopping spree to Paris, but in a different dimension where everything in Paris is free. Right?
I can't remember who said it, but my mum told me this quote, and it was from some billionaire.
She told me some stuff too.
And thank you. And
Hey.
the quote is, "There's no such thing as an ugly billionaire."
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah,
Well,
and that's probably the case which Trump has with him and his wife.
No, but
Essentially,
he's still ugly,
she's
though.
she's supposed to be smart. I think like a pretty high IQ.
Yeah, she's smart. Just stealing.
No, I think she's like
Stealing from
she's like
Miss Obama.
so
So smart.
book smart. Like she's like she's got a high IQ. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but why didn't she write her own speech though?
Because why would you like?
because I think
Come on, this
writing a speech is a very specialized area.
Yeah, but if you're smart,
It would,
you can
okay,
think about.
Okay,
the
yeah, but
fact
it
that-
wasn't. Okay, it was her fault
not
for
a
not
good
realizing, not reading it first and realizing what it was. But also, it's not her fault because she probably didn't write the speech.
Yeah, okay, but
What are you referring to, by the way, with this speech then?
She basically copied an entire speech that Michelle Obama made 2 years previous.
no, that was on the when Trump became president, right?
yeah,
That day, yeah.
That feels like the Trump era in a
You didn't
nutshell.
know?
Yeah.
No, no,
You
no,
didn't
no,
hear
no,
this,
no,
no?
no.
This is true.
Yeah, no, it was like almost like it was like about empowering young women, but it was basically the same speech.
It was completely the same speech.
She changed some words.
2 words.
It was like that meme where it's like, "Hey, can I copy your homework?" Yeah, I just changed some words.
Yeah.
And that was it.
All right. I
Yeah.
feel like we should probably move on to the next one, onto the realm of, this actually has genuinely happened because, and we know this because of declassified CIA documentation. So probably one which probably most of the listeners who are listening probably have heard of or know of. It's a very popular conspiracy theory because, I mean, we are aware that it is a thing, and it is Project MKUltra. And just to give you a brief description of what that project was, it was essentially a code name given to a project for experiments on human subjects. And the experiments were intended to identify and develop drugs and procedures to be used in interrogations and tortures in order to weaken the individual to force confessions through mind control. I mean, this is just what I've read off Wikipedia, but people in the underground seem to believe that procedures to be used in interrogations and torture, more maybe along the lines of some people believe it wasn't, that may be a use for,
but they did a lot of
this, but some people believe no, they were trying to look for how can we manipulate people's thoughts, how can we kind of control public opinion, things like this.
Did a lot of testing with LSD.
Yeah,
with that as well, right? Like different ways to give it to people and stuff like that. Like
so I just want to go down on one of the documents. Basically, I just want to read through some of the some of what the study was trying to find, and these were things like substances which will promote illogical thinking and impulsiveness to the point where the recipient would be discredited in public, substances which increase the efficiency of mentation and perception, materials which will cause the victim to age faster, slower in maturity. Yeah, that's quite an interesting one. Yeah. Materials which will promote the intoxicating effect of alcohol. That's quite an interesting one as well.
Like an alternative.
Well, I feel like that's kind of
what?
basically it. Just
like
it means like you can have like one beer and it will feel
drunk.
like it is if you've had like four.
Oh, okay.
Kind of thing. Materials which will produce the signs and symptoms of recognized diseases in a reversible way, so they may be used for malingering. Materials which will cause temporary or permanent brain damage and loss of memory.
That's crazy.
That's weird, man.
There's a lot in here which they were trying to do. Howie, there's just one I've read here.
This one.
Yeah.
A knockout pill.
A knockout pill which can be surreptitiously administered in drinks, food, cigarettes as an aerosol, etc., which will be safe to use, provide a maximum amount of amnesia to the subject, and be suitable for use on an ad hoc basis for agents. So essentially,
they just wanted like an emergency knockout pill.
That's really not out of the realm of possibility for the CIA as well, because there was a documentary I was watching of a CIA hearing, I can't remember when, and it was talking about a heart attack gun that they actually made. Yeah,
Jesus.
So essentially it's a gun which you shoot at someone, and essentially like something hits you, but basically it doesn't leave a mark on you, so when you have a biopsy or autopsy, there's no entry point, there's no exit point, and basically it'll fade away. You might have a mark on you, but it'll fade away very soon. And it basically gives you a heart attack.
Nice.
And that was back maybe in the 70s, 80s.
So
they had that.
Can we check how many presidents have died of a heart attack since then? No, seriously, because like that's like question for debate then, right?
I'm not sure. I mean,
presidents.
U.S. presidents.
That's dumb.
Why?
Kennedy just got shot in the head.
I know, but what I'm saying is that was before they made this heart attack gun. He died in the 60s.
I don't know. No, I think. Oh yeah, no, it was in the 60s. Yeah.
But if America is fine with shooting someone in the head in front of the public.
Yeah, but why would they do that if they could do it without?
Because I feel like they were sending a message on that one to every other president afterwards to say, "Stand in line.
We own you."
Yeah. But we'll get onto that later in the show. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this? This is actual declassified documentation, and there's still actually a lot from these reports which are missing, because as the story goes, the CIA did try to destroy all documentation, and some of the documents were actually sent to the wrong office.
This is how it was released, right?
Apparently.
Yeah, this is what I heard. Like 20,000 documents are misfiled.
Yeah. That's a massive clerical error.
And this guy, I was sort of watching a little bit about MKUltra recently, and this guy, a former CIA agent, actually came out and said that that it was not like that doesn't happen in the CIA. Like misfilings don't happen. So that was. He said like that's not possible. Like this got released by somebody.
I mean, it is interesting. I mean, one of the things time and time again of where, things which have been hidden get released to the public.
Yeah.
Is the fact that, people on their deathbed who have worked on these kind of things, they feel tremendous guilt.
Yeah.
And, they know they're going to die. And so, how can you threaten someone who's on their deathbed? You can't. What are you going to say?
Their family, I guess.
I suppose so, but
I mean,
people release things
But
kind
that
of.
wouldn't make sense if you would threaten your family. You're dead anyway.
Yeah, but your family.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to live with even more guilt of putting your family in
but
danger.
the guilt's
essentially.
gone because you're dead.
Yeah, but
That's true.
It's a bit of an asshole move.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's true though.
I suppose so. But I mean, first of all, I want to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on the fact that the CIA are, because I believe they conducted these tests on
humans.
Yeah, well, on kind of people who didn't really know the full extent of what was going on.
no, it was all it was pretty covert.
Yeah,
as far as
I mean, I don't think any of the what's the term? I don't
Test
think any of the subjects, really knew what was going on and things like this.
Is MKUltra? Is that the one that's supposedly conducted by Nazi scientists, or is that?
No.
I'm not too sure. It's within the CIA.
It's just the CIA.
But they had a recruitment drive.
Yeah,
right?
then again, I mean,
There's
one
a
of the
different
things we'll be talking about soon is Operation Paperclip, where
Yeah, there's a different
after
one,
the
yeah.
fall of Nazi Germany, America essentially recruited all the top Nazi scientists,
I don't think
engineers,
so.
etc.
Yeah, well, because the Germans were mostly engineers. So
No, they had like
okay, of course.
there's a guy, Dr. Death, who did the experiments
Twins.
on twins and
Yeah,
triplets. You heard about that, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just run through that briefly because it's quite interesting. So there's this guy. This is proven. It's not a theory, but like he would take twins and then he would inject one with like malaria or something like that, and leave one without, and then to see how long it takes the one with malaria to die, or he'd feed one and not feed one and see how long it took the one that's not being fed to die.
Why?
Just to see how twins are different.
So, hang on, sorry, just to clarify, we got some information wrong just then. So, Project MKUltra was first brought to public attention in 1975 by the Church Committee of the U.S. Congress and a Gerald Ford Commission to investigate CIA activities within the United States. So, it was initially brought forward in public attention in 1975, but in 1977, under the Freedom of Information Act, they were actually managed to uncover a cache of 20,000 documents relating to MKUltra, which led to the Senate hearings later that same year. And in July 2001, some surviving information regarding MKUltra was declassified. I mean, what are your thoughts, firstly, just on the fact that, America, it's the world superpower, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's quite interesting of why, they obviously, it's obvious as to why they would want to do something like this, to sway public opinion, and,
No, this was in front of the Cold War, right?
No, the Cold War was in the 60s, this is...
Yeah,
the
and this
No,
was
no,
in
the
the
Cold-
50s.
no,
It started in the 50s.
The Cold
Oh,
War
okay.
went right the way to the 90s.
Oh, right, okay.
Like it ended 2 years after the wall fell. So
I don't think at that point, though, it was really...
it wasn't
But they were doing it.
like it was
I
real.
think it was like I had to do something with Russia.
So the last thing was like the last major thing was the wall falling, but it was always sort of it pretty much ended in the 70s. Like after the 70s, it wasn't too much major going on.
Yeah, but this started in the 50s.
Yeah, but
Operation began in the 50s.
I don't think that it was actually they were probably employing these tactics to try and find stuff to fight the Russians with, but it wasn't like.
Let's see if we can actually find out what actual types of MKUltra experiments were supposedly conducted. Obviously,
Was Polybius encompassed in this? I'm eager to talk about it. I know it's been pretty much debunked at this stage, but I think it's interesting, and I would imagine everybody who's watching this play games.
oh, look, I'm just trying to find just some more information on.
See, Cold War. I told you, it's right there. Go up. The Cold War and Project MKUltra.
Oh, right, okay.
What? Not so stupid now, eh?
Yeah,
Hey.
you're stupid. Let's
What?
go.
You
Hey,
are-
do you want to watch us on iTunes when we're not there?
Maybe we're there soon.
I just want to reiterate: we're not on iTunes or SoundCloud.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm working on it.
But yeah. Anyway,
Well, what do we think about it?
Oh, well,
it's
it's
I
obviously
think it's-
true.
I think it's true.
definitely
It's
true.
definitely
It's
true.
obviously true. I mean,
And
that's without a doubt.
But
The extent of, do you believe they were successful, though?
no,
Maybe.
I think had the stuff with the Congress not happened, they probably would have been. As in, but then there's the theory that it's still going on right now, right? That it hasn't actually stopped.
I think
Well, it
they
could
are.
be
Not necessarily
Called
Project
completely
MK,
different operation.
not necessarily Project
at this point.
MKULTRA, but there is a project that is of the same
doing
objectives.
the mind control stuff.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I, mean,
I believe it.
I would believe I believe they're still doing it.
There's too much money invested in media, things like news and whatnot, for something like this to be overlooked. I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think of the media plays an extremely important role in what people believe, and if you can essentially control the media, you can control people's thoughts and opinions. And in fact, based upon that, I mean, it's probably actually even pointless. You wouldn't need to drug people if you control the narrative of any story and situation. So I believe probably in terms of like their interrogations and things like this, if they really want to mess with your mind from this project, I wouldn't want to be captured by the CIA and interrogated.
But
by all means,
the thing about it is, like, it's hard for me to believe there hasn't been one investigative journalist that's looked into it. So there obviously has been, and where are they?
I mean, it's hard to kind of look further
how
into
do you-
something which
yeah,
has happened,
exactly. How
30,
No, I
40
mean,
years ago.
back then.
No one can.
Exactly. So no one can say.
No one can say anything.
If it happened now, I definitely think.
How do you know someone didn't try and look at it?
That's what I'm saying.
And got whacked.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
No, but I
people
think
obviously did.
Probably people looked into it but didn't got anywhere because people just can't say anything.
I think that if it happened today, so it's obviously looked at like as if it's quelled and they've obviously taken steps. But if it happened like say in 2005, 2006, the internet was a new thing and maybe the CIA wouldn't have those kind of barriers and wouldn't be prepared for this kind of information to get out there. You know what I mean?
The thing is, though, if we're talking about the CIA trying to discredit things online, they've already done that. The term conspiracy theorist was coined by the CIA to, I believe, discredit. I'm not entirely sure. Let's just.
So just while you're quickly doing that, what do you think about Infowars?
Infowars.
Yeah.
And I just want to. So yeah, well, I mean, from here, apparently the CIA coined the term conspiracy theorist in 1976 to discredit anyone that challenges the official narrative of whatever thing there was going on.
Basically.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When was JFK assassinated?
63, I think, or 62.
Okay. I think it may have been. Well, I mean, it says in 1967 they coined that term, so maybe it was something.
Probably. Because there's a lot of
around that
conspiracies.
time.
There's many conspiracies around that, not just to do with the CIA as well. We can talk about it in a second.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you?
Infowars.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about that?
Um.
Just explain what Infowars is, I guess.
Explain what it is.
I mean,
We'll just say the whole.
Infowars is a website, is a kind of conspiracy journalism website.
by-
I mean, which is now kind of considered alt-right
Yeah.
or very right-wing.
Well, it's owned by
Alex
what's that guy's
Jones.
name? Alex Jones.
Yeah.
I think most people know Alex Jones. He's seen to be kind of in the pocket of alt-right leaders.
I mean, I've watched. I was introduced to Alex Jones
Is he
initially.
the guy from WikiLeaks as well?
No,
No,
this
it's
guy's
Julian
really
Assange.
not very. That guy is quite reputable. This guy is not.
Okay.
Yeah, you're thinking of Julian
Yeah.
Assange.
Oh,
Julian
yeah,
Assange is
sorry.
with WikiLeaks
He's
and Alex
very
Jones with him.
It's
reputable.
different-
He's a
it's
reputable
different.
guy. Have you seen
Yeah.
the movie about WikiLeaks? Actually,
No.
quite good, but probably not true. You know what I mean?
But yeah, sorry. I was first introduced to Alex Jones from watching one of his documentaries, and as a documentary maker, Alex Jones is a really, really good filmmaker. He's really good. When he makes documentaries, he sticks to the point and he provides supporting evidence for any of his theories and things like that. And he makes he makes good documentaries. However, him just kind of as he's kind of this personality now for anything conspiracy related, and I feel like he probably does more harm to it than good.
He lost his kids recently, right? Because of the show.
In a divorce.
Yeah, because but they used his show Infowars was the main evidence used against him that he was not mentally correct
to
take care of children.
I mean, I can't really comment.
I don't want to comment
on that, but I mean, just in the realm and the world of conspiracies and whatnot, it's funny because he himself was kind of credible in the beginning with the documentaries he was making, and he wanted to have a website and kind of have journalists working on the thing. But a lot of it now, it's kind of like anything that he does say, you can't
believe it.
No, you can't believe it.
But even now, the stuff that he said in the past, you're kind of saying, but I did see a video where he sort of predicted 9/11 in like 1994.
Interesting.
He was like predicting an attack on American soil, but that it might not be from a foreign invader.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, whether it's just kind of interesting. It's he's somebody who kind of just the way that he acts and says things, and on his own show, he goes a bit crazy.
Well, he's definitely in the sort of like YouTube clickbait culture now.
Oh yeah, but people have
it,
memes on him, relentlessly, and that, and it's at the point now with pretty much anything he does say, you've really got to take with a grain of salt. So, I mean, that being said, though, I mean,
you should take most conspiracy theories with a grain of salt.
Oh, I mean, in terms of anyone listening right now, should you believe anything that we're saying? Hell no.
No.
Read this for yourself. Read it for yourself all the time. Look things up for yourself, and then you'll get a closer reading on what's actually true. So yeah.
Okay, so we should move on to the next one, I think.
Probably.
Yeah, sure. On to another one, which is
the paperclip one. I like that.
Yeah, Operation Paperclip, and this is one we've briefly mentioned. Yeah, if you wanna.
You want to take on this one?
Well,
you know a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's about. Well, I don't really know.
If you have like a correction, something's wrong.
Yeah, please. It's about some Nazi engineers and scientists who got taken by the U.S. after World War II.
Well, they didn't get taken. They got
sort of.
Well, they weren't.
They didn't have a choice to.
They weren't captured. Yeah, I'm sure they got well rewarded for the work, though.
Yeah, okay, but they didn't have a choice to. They definitely needed to leave Germany, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, I mean, essentially, when the fall of Nazi Germany was occurring, all of the Nazi people related to to these kind of groups and whatnot, they were all getting disbanded. And then as the documentation was being revealed, then I believe other countries were interested to see what research they'd been doing,
of course,
and then take them.
These guys were the smartest scientists of the world.
Well, if they had continued to work. Well, who's to say that they didn't continue to work and they're responsible for a lot of modern technology? They very well could be, but I think it would have. First of all, modern technology would have come faster because they had no limits, they had no rules they had to follow.
I mean, in terms of technology, I mean, the unfortunate thing about one of the good things about warfare, I should probably say, is the fact that it increases
technology.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah! Because
so fast.
Military. Departments are the only people with billions of dollars or pounds or euros to spend on.
Technology wins of manpower, right? So if you have better technology, you win of more men.
Isn't the budget of the U.S. government or U.S. military like $3 billion a year or something like that?
I would probably think it's more.
Oh, I want to say
it's like 90% more than the rest of the world.
It's half.
Oh yeah.
It's half of the total budget for the States.
Yeah. If you check the US and then the second one, it's like the US is 90% more than the second country.
Regarding Operation Paperclip, one of the things I think one of the American people have said about this, during the when this was going on, was I can't remember who said it, but it was something like if we don't get them, our enemies will.
Why not just send them to prison?
Because it's a waste, isn't it?
Okay, it's a waste, but they're like, okay. Oh, that's actually an interesting question. And
these guys didn't actually do anything wrong.
Well, that's not true.
No, they didn't.
The scientists that experimented on people, that was wrong, no matter
Yeah, okay, but these guys, the rocket scientists, for example.
Okay, maybe.
They just made weapons, and if they didn't, they were going to get killed, probably, by the Germans. So
it's not like nobody ever left Nazi Germany. You know what I mean?
No, but if you would.
If you really didn't want to do it, people escaped Germany, like the German Empire during World War II. It's not like it was impossible. And if you were a scientist, you probably had money.
Yeah, okay.
So come on, like if you really wanted to leave, I think you could have.
I don't think
I
so.
don't think any of these people had a choice.
That's what I'm saying. But I think that.
I think it's pretty much like, hey, you want to go to prison, or you want to carry on?
But people,
doing
what I'm
your work?
saying is people escaped. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not
I
that much,
suppose, but
Rich people, mainly.
you know,
And they probably would have been rich because they're scientists.
Well, you don't know that.
Let's hear. Okay.
maybe.
Anyway, what I'm saying is,
After probably.
But yeah, I mean,
after World War II,
this
they would've
was
been
something which actually happened. There's documentation that this happened, and
rich. But I think
a lot of
great.
people credit America's success in the space race with Russia to Operation Paperclip, because from what I've read into this, some of the Nazi scientists which they took into America to carry on their research.
Well, Nazi is a big word.
A lot of
Well,
what
they were
they
Nazi
were
they were
initially
Nazi.
researching
But, like-
were things in rocket technology and trying to get actually things into space.
Yeah.
To, if you can have a satellite into space, fantastic monitoring capabilities. You can, just spying on the other side, essentially, things like that. It'd be very
well, that's how
I
handy
believe
and
that's how they
helpful.
discovered the missile station in Cuba. With the U2.
No, it was a guy in a plane.
Yeah, but it's that monitoring. It's the same system. You know what I mean? Like if they didn't have it in space, they wouldn't be able to put it on a plane. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
And
No,
that
but wasn't it a guy who just saw it out of the window?
No, it was pictures.
Oh,
it was.
okay. I thought it was just this guy who was in
No.
the plane.
Yeah. Hey. Oh, there's a couple of rockets down there.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Okay, that's different.
No,
It's true.
he was flying a jet. You
Yeah.
can't stick your head out of a jet, like.
You can look around in a jet though.
Yeah, like straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on
And
the ground.
You can flip a jet when you're flying it, and it just will keep going
Okay,
straight.
it doesn't matter.
So yeah, do you have any?
I think this is not bad.
What are your
I think
Thoughts?
that this is a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I think it's not bad. I think it's good that they did this.
I think for me personally, scientists are scientists, and ultimately, their research on rockets, things like this. You can make a rocket to send people on Mars, and fulfill, maybe humanity's destiny to reach the stars and go into the cosmos, or you can use a rocket to pinpoint precision blow someone up. It's a tool at the end of the day. I think
They went the right way then, didn't they?
well, I think the experiments and the research which these people probably did, some of it, has good uses, but I just don't particularly like the fact that America got hold of them. The one country which is just so into warfare.
Yeah,
That's my only gripe. Maybe give them, Japan or someone.
Oh yeah.
Someone
because
kind of like
Japan,
benign,
In that time, Japan was at all not into war.
yeah.
Nah, man.
I
Japan
don't
was
know.
fine.
I just feel maybe
Or,
like
we
they could
could
have
give-
gone
Japan
to
was
elsewhere.
the worst.
Or
One
we
of the
could-
worst countries
Listen,
in the
all I'm
world.
trying to say is maybe if they didn't go to America,
Where then?
maybe we would already
Where
have
to?
rocket
I mean,
powered
we
cars.
could maybe we
Where
could give
to?
them. Maybe we could give them to
I
Britain.
don't know.
Maybe to Britain. Great
No,
country.
No,
so smart.
Great
no,
country.
no,
No,
no.
I think the
great
United States is the
country.
best choice.
I don't know. No,
Loads
I
of
don't know.
money, and Russia's probably not. a
Why
good
not
idea.
Mexico? Hey, that could have helped Mexican economy a ton.
The Mexican space race.
Yeah. Okay, but the
Or
space
just
race.
catapulting
The space race was.
Don't-
no
it was
rocket
just like.
technology.
Oh, Earth is flat. It's all fake.
No, it was literally like my dick's bigger than yours, Russia. That's what it was like. Like there was no. Why did we need to go to the moon? What's the point? Like, okay, it was like,
Science.
but there was no hurry to get to the moon. You know what I mean? There's nothing there, and we knew that because we had like images of it. It was
Anyway,
just
I
like
felt like we've been on Operation Paperclip for a while, and not really much has been said because there's not really much
You wanna
really
move on
to
and
say
maybe-
because there's the full extent
Yeah,
of.
it's so. Well, I think it's good.
well, it
that
definitely
they
happened.
did
It definitely happened. So.
Yeah, but I think it's also good that they did it. Like that they took the scientists and actually used them for further experiments.
I think with the track
technology.
record,
Of the
with the track
US.
record of the US
Yeah.
and unethical and illegal experimentation, yeah, I don't really like the idea too much, but
Especially the.
If they didn't have done it, we would probably be a lot behind on technology right now.
Maybe.
but at what cost, boss?
Yeah, at what
At
cost?
what cost?
The internet. Would it even exist? Will we even be here right now
would you have
to
the
speak
same-
into these microphones?
Would you have the same level of memes
Yeah.
Probably
You know,
not.
No.
would you have the same? It's it's like a trade-off.
You heard it here first. If it wasn't for Adolf Hitler, we wouldn't have memes. Can you argue with that?
There you go.
Can you argue with that?
There you go.
Okay. You want to talk about maybe JFK for a while?
I mean, let's just see what's next on the agenda.
JFK is probably the best.
Operation Northwoods. This
Because we've
you know,
probably got
I
time for
feel
like two more.
I feel like we've only got time for 2 more.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Jesus Christ.
Probably.
Bloody hell.
We can do a second part someday.
Okay. Yeah. Because we've only done a few of these. All right. I think we should probably end on quite a fun one.
So we can do one more
and
than that one.
I mean, this again is one. Which
I don't think
has
there's too much to
been-
talk about this one, so we can maybe do this last.
What, this one?
Do a different one.
Oh,
between
okay,
the
yeah,
two.
sure,
JFK
sure.
first because we talked about that already.
Okay, yeah, sure. So, the JFK assassination. So everybody knows, everybody is aware of this. It's too much of a big thing for, you know. No, I don't think anybody from any country is unaware. I mean, provided that they have, you know, education and access to the internet and
I
whatnot.
think most maybe just North Koreans. I don't think they're getting this in North Korea. So
You know.
If you're listening.
Oh yeah, to our major fan base of
In
one
North Korea.
person.
if you're listening
in-
to North
in-
Korea,
in North
subscribe.
Korea. Yeah, thank you.
Why?
But yeah, there's a lot of theories as to why JFK was assassinated, and the main one which I've heard about was that he was essentially trying to establish a silver trade back in the United States at the time, and essentially what I mean by that is,
Everything's guaranteed by silver, right?
yeah, it was making
What?
the paper money actually be backed by a physical
Isn't it?
something worth
it's backed by
in
gold.
value intrinsically. You see,
Oh, and he wanted to back by
It's
silver.
currently backed by gold, but he wanted it back.
no.
Oh,
The money now isn't backed by anything.
Oh, no?
It's all fiat
in
currency.
the US, it's not backed by anything.
No.
It is
That's-
here, right?
Yeah.
It is,
I don't
it is-
think
is
it.
here,
I
yeah,
don't- I'm not.
definitely.
I mean, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
you would know, right?
I'm sure.
So
I'm sure.
Okay, we have to look into the matter, ladies and gentlemen, about this.
I'm sure. Shut up.
Yeah, you know, we need to do the research here.
I went to
but,
the place.
uh,
You can't even go in there. for
Maybe
this
Baz is,
camera.
you know, he bought the CIA, MKULTRA. Baz just got
CIA.
It's
MKULTRA.
fake.
he bought the European CIA.
You can't go into the vault. They send a camera in, and you see throughout
You see, the
camera.
person conducting the
maybe the
tour
camera's-
guide.
He's in on it. He's in
Well,
on it.
you know, did they enter the vault with you?
No, you can't enter the vault.
You see.
So how do you know it's not Photoshop?
See,
Yeah.
that's fair
How do you know
enough.
it's not
Photoshop.
Photoshop?
You know,
Nobody enters the vault, so
in the-
it's
in the-
unconfirmed reports
in
right
the
now.
world of 1080p video on YouTube, where you can watch us if you want to see a video,
Ooh.
you can Photoshop anything.
Photoshop
but no,
anything out. Editing is
Okay, JFK assassination.
yeah. I mean, that was the main one because essentially that was one of the reasons why Gaddafi was overthrown in Syria as well.
What's your take? I think they would have been better off not killing him.
Well, JFK was ruffling a few feathers at the time because he was somebody. He was actually opposed to
It was a Cold War as
warfare.
well, right? This-
The Vietnam War. I think he was kind of opposed to, and also
Yep.
he was actually advocating for civil rights
Yep.
as well at the time. So
Although, to be fair, I don't believe that because you had oh god, I can't remember his name now. Johnson, Lyndon B. Johnson went in after him,
Hmm.
who actually. So basically, what happened was Kennedy laid the groundwork for civil rights, and Johnson really pushed it through really, really quick once he got in. So I don't believe that that's the reason it happened.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it probably would have ruffled a few feathers at the time. But yeah, no. The people, it's widely regarded or is rumored to be that the reason why he was assassinated was with the money situation. Essentially, basically because if you're trying to mess with the people who own the money system, you know,
Yeah,
how are you
Yeah.
gonna beat them?
because like
you know, what's your price? Name your price, and if you can't be bought with money, then there's other people who will be bought with money who will, you know.
so we
bad
kind of talked
things.
about the why. So what do you think about the how? Because I don't think that he was shot by Lee Harvey. Well, I think maybe he was shot by Lee Harvey Oswald, but that wasn't the only person involved.
Well, the school book
Wasn't he shot by a
depository
Russian?
building is supposed to be behind JFK,
Mhm.
and if you look at the footage, the Zapruder film footage, his head goes back into the left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think there's seemingly reports of multiple people set
Yeah.
up in many buildings around in case somebody missed.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
because if you look, there is also like 3 shots.
Yeah. And
Really?
Yeah.
I believe at the time as well, there were many witnesses which testified that they heard a gunshot around the grassy knoll area.
Yeah, and there was
And
a small,
they were like none of them were taken seriously.
Yeah.
Basically, like it was.
there was
all-
a small platform by the grassy place as well, which would support one of the angles of the bullets that hit him, because he was shot a couple of times. That location you're talking about, one of the bullets that was found, the location where it was found supported the fact that it was shot from there. You know what I mean?
The thing is, though, if you're willing to believe that, the American government will lie to us about these things, what's it to say that they've just, falsified autopsy
I think
That's
evidence
true, but
as
why
well
would they falsify it to make it look like it wasn't the guy that they
to
pinned it on?
support the official narrative
Was it-
which
was
they
it
were running,
was an American guy.
which was Lee Harvey Oswald
Yeah,
killing
but that
lone
would
killer.
surely, if they falsified that autopsy, that would not support the official narrative,
How so?
because there's evidence of multiple bullets from multiple different angles.
Oh no, the official narrative at the time though was Lee Harvey Oswald was
Yeah,
the
no,
lone-
that's what I'm
lone
saying,
That's
killer.
but that's a Russian guy,
yeah.
right? No.
No, no, no,
Where's
no,
he from?
no.
Where's he
He's
from?
American.
Oh, he's just American.
Yeah. What I'm saying is the autopsy, which
Yeah.
was released at the time,
No,
Yeah.
he's not American.
said he said that he's from Texas.
Yeah, but
I'm
he
not
went
sure.
to Russia.
Don't think
He I think he was born in the USA. Then he went to Russia to live there, and his wife was from Russia. And then he went back to the USA and did this, I believe.
See, the problem that we have, ladies and gentlemen, is
There's so
we're
much-
really not qualified to be talking about the facts and statistics about
I think
these
it's
things.
true, though.
But we're
doing
having
it
an
anyway.
interesting
What's
discussion
his name?
because it is
Type
kind
in
of
his
interesting.
name.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Can you type it in, please?
Anyway, what I was saying was the autopsy at the time supported the fact that he was shot from multiple angles, right? So that would not support.
That's not what I've read into. But then again, I've not really investigated the autopsy very, very
Oh
much.
wait, this is the wrong one. This is it. Let me see. Let me look this up.
I've never heard that he was anything but American.
I thought he was.
From my understanding, just
Okay, on that, because obviously he was arrested, but he was shot. Lee Harvey Oswald was shot.
See, I told you.
Minsk. But
Yeah, that's in.
he lived. Yeah, it's in Russia. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, in Belarus.
it was Russia at
And
the
he
time.
lived there. In. Yeah, I knew it.
Okay.
He wasn't born there, but he.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And
But
yeah, his wife is Russian. Yeah,
Okay,
smart boy.
do you believe that do you think that it was literally just a guy that loved JFK that shot him, or do you think that they had him shot so that they didn't have to go to trial? And
well, another interesting thing about this is, I mean, during this time frame and things like this as well. Basically, have you ever, Darren Brown,
Yep.
the guy from the UK who's kind of like a psychological
Yep.
illusionist and magician type guy?
it's really great. You should check him out.
He actually did a show where he tries to essentially program someone who's very susceptible to being taken into a hypnotic state, and basically program them to assassinate somebody on. I can't remember. Bloody hell, who was it? Assassinate someone on stage. And
Yes, I've
essentially-
seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he was.
It was
Stephen Fry.
Stephen Fry.
Yeah, that was it.
So Stephen Fry was given the show. He was up in the atrium watching it, and then he had this keyword.
Yeah, essentially, Darren Brown in one of his shows, which was on in the UK, and I think you
So
can
Darren
probably
Brown,
watch it on
he's
YouTube
like,
as well.
yeah, it is on YouTube if you look it up.
What?
So Darren Brown, he's kind of like this magician, but he's more of a psychological
Illusionist, yeah.
illusionist. He programmed this guy to assassinate Stephen Fry, who's a kind of a comedian in the UK.
And basically, what I mean by
What?
program is essentially basically, initially in a large group of people, he
hypnotized him.
he finds who is the most susceptible to being taken into a very hypnotic state. Like, have you seen the times where like you see sort of those like hypnotists and they're like sleep, and then like the dude just completely like shuts
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
That's exactly what he was looking for. He was looking for somebody who's extremely
Yeah.
susceptible to going into
So
that
he ran
state.
these tests before, which you see in the
Yeah,
show.
so
and
he
then-
was essentially trying to filter who can I probably get to do this, and he found his candidate, and then over the course of I think it was a few months, he basically was put him in a hypnotic state, and then he would tell him things while he's in that state of like
But that's how it doesn't work.
things like when you see the blue and white polka dot dress, go underneath your chair, take out the box, open the box, load the gun, and shoot your target,
shoot
Stephen Fry. And
So
essentially,
it was shoot your target, and then
Did he do it?
yeah,
and then basically over the course of a few months of him being programmed and Darren implementing this trigger, the trigger was a woman who essentially because he goes to a Stephen Fry show, and Stephen Fry's on stage and blah blah blah. The guy's sitting quite far up at top, and then a woman in a blue dress, blue and white polka dot dress, walks past,
and then somebody leans into his ear and goes, "Your target is Stephen Fry."
Yeah. And basically he just kind of just like shuts off, and then he basically just goes underneath, gets this thing out,
Pretty casual.
Loads it, stands up, aims.
And the people in the atrium all are in on it, but the people below in just a regular crowd don't know. And Stephen Fry has a blood pack in his thing, and it pops open, and he's covered in blood, and he falls to the ground.
Oh, it's fake though.
It's fake. It's not a real gun.
I
But
don't
the
think he had a
crowd don't
blood
know.
pack, but like the lights all shut off when he gets shot and whatnot.
Oh
and,
my god.
It's pretty.
It's quite funny.
So
But,
okay. Also, what do you think about just back to JFK?
So this actually worked.
I mean, I think it's interesting because what's not to say that someone like Lee Harvey Oswald might have
control
had that
it.
happen to him. Now that we know that that's kind of somewhat
It's
feasible.
really it's highly possible.
Mm.
If a guy can do it on TV, then
I think I'm not sure. I can't remember if JFK actually mentioned Lee Harvey Oswald in the initial introduction to the show, but he mentioned a few people in other cases where even today, like they're still imprisoned, and even today they still
claim,
stick with their story that they did not murder, and like it's just really weird because the dude's been in prison for
one thing we forgot to mention
20
was
years
the guy that shot Stephen Fry had no idea he did it.
Yeah,
He woke up and was like,
what's going on?
because Stephen Fry came back out on stage.
Yeah,
Like, so they stood up, they told the crowd before he was taken out of his hypnotic state, came back out, the guy was like, yeah, and then he met Darren after the show, and he was like, what happened?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, it was fine. And he was like, you shot Stephen Fry. And he was like, what? And they showed him the tapes, and he was like, I didn't do that, that's not me.
yeah.
Wow.
It's
So,
quite incredible.
So do you want to talk about Midnight Climax then?
Yeah, let's
To end it.
hey, let's go out with a bang, quite literally. So,
Well, I don't know if they ever got that far, but
I mean, this one is just quite funny because it's
pretty fucked up. It's fucked up too, though. It is.
oh, of course.
So what happened?
Operation Midnight Climax was an operation initially established by Sidney Gottlieb.
It's my friend.
Essentially, it was kind of a someone as well with ties to the MKUltra project from the CIA, and essentially, it was in order to study the effects of LSD on unconsenting individuals. So, prostitutes on the CIA payroll were instructed to lure
The
clients
fact
back
that the
to
sentence is crazy.
a safe house, and they were surreptitiously plied with a wider range of substances, including LSD, and basically monitored behind a one-way glass.
How is this funny?
Every one
Because
of these,
because the name is called Midnight Climax. Come on.
every one of these
man.
acts was blatantly illegal, but several significant operational techniques were developed in this theatre, including extensive research into sexual blackmail, surveillance technology, and possible use of mind-altering drugs in the field operations. So essentially, what they were doing is they were getting prostitutes to lure men at the time back to a safe house where people were getting drugged, essentially. So,
I believe this is where they experimented with LSD as an aerosol.
oh right,
So they would like release it, and it works. Like they would just release this gas into the room which contained LSD.
yeah. I think it's very unethical. It's very messed up,
Okay.
but it's quite funny. Just the fact that
And
people
this
were
this
kind of going
documentation
in
to back this up, right?
Yeah, but
Get their dick
what
wet.
happened? What happened with the people who got taken? What happened after when they were done with the test?
I don't know. Probably the prostitute
Disappeared.
said, "Yeah, hope you had a good time, baby,"
Yeah.
and then
He was
kicked
like-
them out.
He was like, "That was the saddest happy ending I've ever had."
I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
I don't know.
There's no names in this.
Yeah, they're not going to release the people's names.
No, but the people who did this would go to journalism and like journalists.
Okay,
would say,
there's probably some way to. Well, okay, if we look at MKUltra, they're working on stuff that leaves people in like with amnesia, right?
yeah.
So they probably just use whatever they found with MKUltra to make these people not remember what happened, or they just killed them.
I think they just killed them. Yeah.
I don't think they killed them. I mean, imagine going to a newspaper at that time,
Oh,
going, I went to bang a prostitute, and then the wall started shape-shifting.
Well, it did say that they were experimenting.
They're going to go,
Yeah.
oh, okay, yeah, this is really harrowing headline stuff. There's really more to this. They're going to think that you're just some nut
Yeah.
who strolled in.
And also, they said that they were.
Yeah, okay,
They also
true, yeah.
said that they were experimenting with sexual blackmail, so they could have just used
Yeah, I mean, people got you video
with a prostitute.
essentially.
Yeah.
Firstly, with prostitute,
And
and
secondly
then
on
off
LSD.
you're tripping off your nut on LSD unknowingly.
Yeah.
I don't know what those people probably.
But
were
apparently,
were
that's actually
thinking
supposed to be
or
like a really
doing
bad
at
thing.
the
Right?
time.
If you're unprepared for LSD, you can think you're losing your mind, right?
I think with any psychedelic, you need to kind of be prepared, and
Yeah.
something like this is the recipe for a bad trip. 100%.
Yeah.
I don't,
that
I
sounds
feel
like
for the
that sounds
people
like an
who.
awful line. Oh yeah, this one I took LSD, found a prostitute, can't remember a thing.
I mean, Jesus Christ, man! Even if you plan to shag a prostitute on LSD, that's still you're still crazy, man. That's nuts.
But did they actually Did they actually have sex? Did that actually happen?
I don't think you could perform when
know,
you're
but you're just laying there.
unknowingly when stuff kind of when your sense of reality starts warping around you. I don't
No,
think
but they
your
weren't
dick
on-
can get hard to.
I don't think they were on LSD. No, what? Wait.
What do
It
what do you
was a bunch of
It
drugs.
was loads of different drugs.
Yeah, it was
What,
a bunch.
including
Okay,
LSD.
Yeah,
but
the
prostitute took him to the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the house they got the drugs.
I don't think they actually had sex.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
No,
That's
I
what
don't
I
think so.
said.
Well, I
But
don't
that-
think-
it was the allure of that essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Well,
yeah.
so would you partake in Project Midnight? Would you have a midnight climax?
You mean would I?
Would you have a midnight
wanna
climb?
I would have a
sex with
different midnight
prostitute
claim. Hey.
whilst high on LSD?
Or no? Would you have any? What? Just
For the record, ladies and gentlemen, no.
unofficially, if you're a prostitute. Well, here's my
Yeah,
number.
maybe you don't know as well. Maybe they were just really good-looking women and you just like, fuck. Maybe they didn't even know.
Nah.
Prostitutes.
Well, there's
They
things
were
like
like,
that.
Like
So-
maybe I'm gonna get lucky.
Yeah, there's things
Yeah.
like that in like
in
in Prague and stuff.
think
like,
you're just
and
like-
in Istanbul. They like these women, like these guys will be like, oh, let's come to this club, right? And then this girl will sit down beside you, and then they'll be like, come on, come back here. There's like a quieter place at the back. We'll go talk there. And then this guy comes in. He's like, that's €500. You talk to my girl. That's €500.
Wow,
Yeah.
€500 for talking.
Oh, well, I
Jesus.
think he's like,
Where's that in Turkey?
Istanbul
Whoa,
and,
Jesus
and
Christ.
in Prague as well. Oh yeah.
You know, I
And
would
Prague.
have.
How'd you know about this?
Oh, Rob,
Happening in
how
Prague
do you
and
know about this?
Istanbul, exactly.
This happened.
There's
This happened.
a YouTube channel called Honest Guide.
Oh, a friend of a friend.
Friend of a friend. Name is Michael. This is his phone number if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we'll probably wrap it up there,
Sure.
and I think
Yeah.
we can probably do a part 2 at some point.
I mean,
because we've
I want to just go through. What did you learn? What are some things that you learnt today? What was the most shocking thing you learnt today?
The Earth is flat.
yeah, Earth is flat. No, like probably MKULTRA is probably the worst one on that list. Easy, I think.
Oh, the midnight one. Never go with the prostitute to
Well,
a
yeah.
house. Is what I learned
Yeah.
today.
Well, if you
It's-
learned that today, I'm worried.
It's scary though.
I think the most shocking thing for me personally, when I was kind of initially researching into this, is just the lengths that
Yeah.
the American, like our governments, will go
To keep things secret.
to, well, firstly to do these kind of experiments on
Yeah.
people unknowingly,
Mhm.
and also to kind of suppress it. So,
Yeah.
you know,
It makes you wonder what else they're not saying.
at what cost of freedom and at what cost of, trying to keep everybody safe and blah 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 blah. At what cost are you willing to go to try and do that?
Yep.
It's a muddy water area, a grey area,
It's
and that kind of thing. But
Dirty.
yeah, there you go. That's my take on it.
Okay, thanks for coming in, Mike.
Yeah, no worries.
And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can check us out on AnchorFM for the time being for the audio podcasts. Okay, thanks guys. See you next time.